Hello. I'd like to take a moment to talk to you about the legalization of ferrets in California. First, let me introduce you to my two female ferrets. As you can see, maybe not. This one has a blue mark on her ear. That means that she has been fixed, and both of them have this, but it means that she's been fixed and that she was purchased from Marshall Farms, who is a reliable and very popular ferret breeder. I live in an apartment, and since the ferrets are very quiet and easy to contain, they make a much better pet for me than a dog would, and especially since I am gone all day. Now here's some food for thought. According to the leading pet industry lobby, Californians buy 27% of the ferret supplies sold in this country. That's over a quarter of all supplies sold to one state. The estimate number of ferrets in California is between 100,000 and 1 million ferrets in California. The ferret magazines have also reported that California is #1 in subscriptions, and Petco has stated that they sell millions of dollars in ferret supplies in California every year. All of these numbers, and yet ferrets remain illegal in California. As you can see, huge numbers of ferrets are here, and nothing bad has happened. They're here, and nothing is happening. They have not taken over the state, and it will not happen. So let me take a minute to explain why. The California Department of Fish and Game did a study, the 1996 through 97 nationwide ferret survey of state and wildlife agencies, as an attempt to document feral ferret colonies outside of California. However, their study admits no state reported breeding or documented breeding by ferrets in the wild. This gives the ferret a stellar record with regard to the environment, and that no other domesticated pets have. Dogs and cats do become feral and breed in the wild. Have you ever seen a wild ferret? No. Have you ever seen a wild dog or a cat? Yeah. So as far as damage to agriculture goes, there have been no documented cases of ferret attacks on small livestock in California since the ban has been in place, even though significant numbers of pet ferrets still exist in the state in spite of the ban. The argument that ferrets can carry rabies and therefore jeopardize public health does not justify a ban on ferrets, because dogs can carry rabies too. The Department of Fish and Game asserts that there is no proven vaccine to prevent rabies in ferrets, when in fact the rabies vaccine, IMRAB-3, not only exists but exceeds federal efficacy standards. There has never been a ferret-to-human transmission of rabies. Never. And in order for a ferret to contract the rabies virus, they had to be saturated with the virus in the laboratory, and then they died before the virus was even in their saliva, so it couldn't even be transferred to a human anyways. The endangered wild black-footed ferret species are barely surviving in their natural habitat. They were thought to be extinct at one point, but humans have been working hard to rehabilitate them and release them back into the wild. How could domesticated ferrets survive on their own, especially in the extreme conditions present in California, when the species born into the wild can't even make it without our help? Ferrets simply cannot survive on their own in the wild. That's why they're considered domesticated in every other state. Hawaii is the only other state to keep ferrets as being illegal. Ferrets are classified as domesticated by the United States Department of Agriculture, Smithsonian Institute, Museum of Natural History, the Humane Society of the United States, and 150 zoos, zoological societies, and other authorities. Growing up in New York State, we had to have a license to have our ferrets, and there was no problem. Then New York State decided it wasn't necessary anymore. I'm confident that if California said that ferret owners had to be licensed, which would mean that it would prove that their pets were neutered or spayed and vaccinated and accounted for, that we would be fully willing to do so. Other states have removed restrictions in the past 20 years. Prior to 1985, ferrets were legal in 40 states, and in fact, most of these states, they were never illegal. Since 1985, 8 states have legalized ferrets, bringing the total to 48. No state has reversed their decision after having removed restrictions. When a court of law needs to make a decision, don't they usually go in favor of the precedent? California should follow the precedent of all other states. Get with the times and get over yourself, California. Governor Schwarzenegger has requested an environmental study be done before he even considers legalizing ferrets. Ferret owners are expected to pay for this out of their own pockets, even though tax money has been used to fund anti-ferret research. And then it was lied about as to what the actual use was for. I absolutely feel that funding this study is important, but I know that ferret owners would rather be able to donate money towards black-footed ferret rehabilitation or fund research to find solutions to ferret-related health issues, such as adrenal disease. The California Department of Fish and Game hid the following study until word of its existence leaked out. Asked whether an environmental impact report or equivalent of a written evaluation was prepared for legalizing ferret ownership in the state, no state reported yes. 6 states reported no: Georgia, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, Utah, and Vermont, or no and not needed, New Hampshire. 1 state, Michigan, responded unknown. The other states, 43 or 86%, reported not applicable. My job transferred me here from another state when I when I adopted my ferrets out of state, it was for life. Look how cute they are. I would never get rid of a pet that I made a promise to. I'm a very good citizen, taking care to abide all laws, but this law is so ridiculous and not based on fact. I'd like to thank Governor Schwarzenegger for telling us we need to collectively pay thousands of dollars to have a CEQA or EIR study done to possibly have an outcome that would please him. There is hope, but since nearly every other state has approved of ferrets, it's time to break down our wall too. Ferrets are charming, curious, fun, and I can't help but smile when I watch them. They make wonderful pets. I don't strive to popularize ferrets, only to have them accepted for what they are, a domestic animal. My resources were the following sites: nrm.dfg.ca.gov, maferrets.org, ferretnews.org, and legalizeferrets.org. Thank you for your time.